be turned this way. Really, is the way I should be turned, but I'm not. I'm about to get in this water. Turned the wrong way. Hey, what's up? Hey, girl, what's up? What's happening? Nothing. Chilling, chilling, chilling. I put up a short. Said, guess where I'm at? Left some hints and see who picks up on it. What's go? You know what? I if you asking what's going on about that, I really didn't look. I really didn't look. I had some stuff to do for my man last night, so I really am trying to open these fucking pretzels. Mm-mm-mm. There we go. They open these suckers like they were closed with super glue. But I don't know. I really don't care. But I figure I tagged him in my short though, just to see. So what you up to today? I tried to grow my nails out. That's not working. Now this chick that I met over there, I talked to her last night. She said that she might be able to find some information out. She's been over there hunting and pecking. I don't know how diligently she's doing it, but at a certain point though, at a certain point, I don't want to waste my resources fucking with him because he is somewhat irrelevant to whatever I got going on. It may be fun though. What you think? Uh, you at work today? Y'all hit the like button. Hit the like button so we could get to gossiping over here. 'Cause I hate having to repeat stuff, but I have gotten a couple of questions about things. But oh, don't you hate when you cut your fingernails and you just cut them a bit too low? Mm-mm-mm. When I grow up and get rich and famous, so I'm gonna start getting my nails done again. I just don't like them to be long when they're in their natural state. I was a nervous child and I bit the stank out of my fingernails, so they grow really funny. Because whether people realize it or not, when you bite your fingernails, you actually damage your nail bed, and your nails do grow back funny. And then on top of thinking I was Bobette the Builder and not being real handy with a hammer and a nail, I have damaged my nail beds pretty good. So unless I get them done, I don't let them grow out. Oh, me? No, I'm not at work. No, 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 no. I'm doing my absolute best to do as least work as possible this summer. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I definitely do not want to work, and I'm doing my absolute best not to. Why, you at work? This fucking bird. Go fuck with somebody. Let me have. He probably heard my pretzel bag rattle. Is what he did. He just came over here. Seagulls are aggressive. They are. Look how close this fucker is to me. Hold on. Hmm. Let me see. Look, you see my blanket right here? Little fucker's right there. He's not maybe 6 feet away. Mm-mm-mm. Too much. Come on, hit the like button. I see y'all eyes in there. Hit the like button so we can talk about. I was on somebody live last night, and they were talking about. Well, the question was, and I should put it up. Hold on, let me see. I don't know if I can do it on my phone. Maybe I can. Let me see. Let me see. Can I? Let me see. Um, Let me see. Can I? Uh-oh. Well, how do you do it? I don't know if I can do it on my phone. If you could put a poll up on your phone. So I'm not sure. I'm gonna try though. Let's find out. Nope, not there. Can I do it there? No. Does anybody know how? I don't know if I can do it on my phone. I know I can do it on my computer or my laptop, but I try to keep that at home. I have a tendency to be a little heavy-handed with things, and I don't want to bring it out and tear it up. It's actually co-owned, so. But so the topic that we were talking about is does white privilege exist in this country? Now y'all see, y'all, yeah, well, yeah, look at the scars, whatever. But y'all see, I'm a woman of no melanin. So the question is, does white privilege exist in our country? And if so, have you experienced it, whether being for you or against you? That'd be the question. So, what I do here? Okay, there we go. Oh, hey Ray, what's up? Does white privilege exist in this country? And if so, I don't want to be on camera. I definitely don't want to be on camera. I would like for y'all to do something other than me. Ooh, it's hot. I'm gonna be sweaty. It's not gonna be nothing nice. So put my glass. Oh, I need my glasses. Shit. So no takers on that subject, eh? It can be a touchy subject. I say that white privilege definitely does exist in this country. It definitely does, but not for all white people. Not for all white people, it doesn't. It definitely does not exist for all white people. And this is coming from a white woman who has experience and advanced in life because of white privilege, and also after having enjoyed such a privilege, I suppose it was snatched the fuck away from me. That's for sure. I definitely don't enjoy it now. So I have a theory on that. I'm trying to hear y'all theory on it. Come on, hit the like, y'all. And welcome in. Welcome. I appreciate y'all coming in, talking with me. Mm-mm-mm. Yep, I definitely am going to get me some exercise in, at least an hour of straight swimming before it gets too hot. It's supposed to be terribly hot here later today. It's early. It's only 11 o'clock. Wow. I guess, well, I left my house probably. Okay, so it's probably just me and you, girl. We turn around now. I can talk to you. It's just me and you. So I'll talk to you. Yeah. So, yeah, it's supposed to be really, really hot. Really hot. So I figure get my exercise in early because I don't think I'm going to have to work tonight. My client, he's still, well, the client that I care for, he's actually my boss's client, but he's still in the hospital. So I don't know. They should be knowing right around now if they're going to release him. So, but she's not going to know, I guess, until 4 o'clock. So, yeah, definitely was. And it's getting there. It's supposed to be like triple digits or high double, low triple digits where I'm at today. Tomorrow we're supposed to have another one of them heat waves. So that's why I said I'm going to get out here early. Oh. I am just terrible. Yep, I thought that somebody's whole natural ass was out, but they just had like peach colored pants or something. Yeah, I had to do a double take. I thought her whole fanny was out, like she was changing or something, like on the pavilion or something. So I don't know. Oh, hey, Patrick. You're in Australia, eh? Shout out to Australia. Shout out. I heard it's hot there too. It's hot. You having a heat wave over there too, or no? Yeah, y'all floating in and out. In and out. Yep, I'm definitely gonna take this off and get ready to get in the water. Don't laugh, cause my hair is gonna stand straight up. I wonder, did I bring my clips? It wouldn't matter. I'm not really trying to. I'm not out here playing the dating game, so I guess it doesn't matter. Clips are probably in the car. Oh, wait a minute. We won't put that there. Did I bring them or did I not? Nope, they're in the car. Oh well. I'll probably have to put some sunscreen on. So, mm, anywho, it's beautiful. If y'all see, the water's nice, chill, all that. It's really nice. I wish I could get you a long shot, but it'll give away too much of my location if I show too much. And I've seen just from perusing other people's pages that these folks don't have nothing better to do but to dox and put your personal information out there and all that. I don't have time for that. I surely do not. And this is the place to bring the kids though on a hot day like this. I quite frankly did not bring any children with me, thank goodness. I noticed that as I get older, I definitely don't have time for no kids. Not for real anymore. My youngest is over at his brother's house, and it's like summer camp over there. They roughing it. So I let him be. I do food drop offs and laundry drop offs. Really, really, I dropped them off the money to do their own laundry, and they spent it on something else. So when I brought them to the beach the other day with me, they had to fuck my day around and have me to putting they nasty clothes in my washer. Ooh. And have to, 4 loads of laundry. That takes a little bit of time. So I didn't get them home till after midnight that night. So I don't know. Where y'all at? Y'all at work? Oh, to the woo. I'm gonna ask the question. How do you put up? Let me see. How do you put up a? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here we go. I'm gonna put a poll up. Okay, question. Okay, we're gonna just put it down. We don't want to end it. We just want to move it to the bottom. No, we just want to put it somewhere. I don't know. I guess we'll put it up here. But anyway, we're gonna start that and see what happens. And put your vote in. Does it exist? This is the topic that was on. Oh shoot, I forgot. Oh, what is the name of his channel? I forgot. I'll look it up before it's over. But it was a topic that we were talking about last night, and it's an interesting topic. It's interesting to hear people's outlook and viewpoints on it. So hit the like button, y'all, while you're doing that. Those of y'all said yes. Have you experienced white privilege, either being white and it working for you, or 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 being of another skin color and it's working against you? And when I say working against you, I mean like say you were up for a job promotion and you're completely qualified the same as the other person and you feel like they only got the promotion because, maybe your attendance is better or your organizational skills are better, but you feel like they just got the job because of white privilege. Or what's another instance that maybe, because I have a viewpoint of white privilege. I definitely do. But I like to hear other people's viewpoints. That was part of the reason why I decided to start coming on and talking to people online is to get a more better, oh wow, a better understanding of how other people think, and what my community thinks. And so, and for those of you, hit the like on your way in, y'all. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all coming in and putting eyes on it. But for those of you that said white privilege doesn't exist, why do you believe that it doesn't exist? Like, you know, I'm just curious as to how other people think about it. So hit the like button on the way in, y'all. Hit the like button, and let's have a conversation. Let's have a logical dialogue about it, because I'm curious. I mean, my viewpoint it has changed over the years. My viewpoint on a lot of things has changed over the years. Like as I got older, and had more life experiences and more things to be able to base my opinion on. Hey, from Japan said, "What do I think of Japanese people? What do you mean? What do I think of them? I mean, my daughter is contemplating trying to move to Japan. At least that was what she was talking about before. She's been looking at property there and everything. But you know, I mean, what do you mean? What do I think of them? Like, do I have a bias? Or I love all people. I feel like everybody is a friend until you show me you're not. Like, I mean, I'm not saying that I just am great and open up, welcome everybody into my home and into my life. But I'm just saying, I don't, I don't look at people as enemies. You have to show me something funky about you. I really am accepting of a lot of people. I mean, there's cultural things that I don't agree with from some cultures, but I don't know enough about the Japan. Well, I heard that Japan is doing. Is it Japan? Yeah, is about how they're Muslim immigrants. They're not real pleased with that. So I don't know, and they don't agree. They're not happy with that. I don't think they're racist though. I mean, hopefully I answered your question. I don't have a negative viewpoint of them. I don't know any Japanese people though. I don't. So I mean, there's stereotypes of like all different cultures and different countries. Like they say a lot of Asian people are very smart, like they're very math smart and stuff like that. And I don't think they're any smarter than another culture. I think that their culture is more based around those things being a priority, and they don't eat all the processed foods that, America feeds us. So maybe their brains develop a little different. I don't know. I just know when I was young, I was born in the 70s, and I know when I was young, we didn't have autism and all the types of allergies that are going around these days. I mean, there were always like the odd peanut allergy, but I mean, you never had to, get permission and put a questionnaire out before you brought cupcakes to school for your birthday or, shit like that. I mean, there always were kids that were different and were a little bit slower in the learning. There was always special ed, but we never had like autism like we have now. Oh, thanks, chilling. Yes, thanks. Chilling with Janelle. Your name is Janelle. My sister's name is Janelle. Yeah, yeah. Look, girl, early 70s. Early 70s. Definitely a 70s baby. Look, when I was born, they didn't have car seats. Car seats were in their infancy. My mother used to tote me around in a damn wicker with laundry basket. You know? Shit, our cribs had lead paint in them in the 70s. I think when my sister was born, like in the late 70s, is when car seats were mandatory for kids. Yeah, yeah. There's not many Janelles. My sister spells hers with two L's and an E at the end. Yeah. My mom definitely tried to be original. You know, my sister, like my dad's, all his sisters were with J's. We had Jan, June, Janine, Jeanette, Joanne. What's the other one, man? Joanne, Jan, June, Janine, Jeanette. Oh yeah, and then they had one C. They had Camille. So yeah, and then there was my dad. So when my mom had my sister, she stuck with the J theme. 54. Yeah, I'm 54. My birthday's in January. Yeah, 54. Look, last night, that's funny because last night I had heard on the radio that T-Mobile is doing this 55 and up. Yeah, Janela's is original. Yes, definitely. Uh, but last night I seen this thing about T-Mobile. They have a plan for 55 and up. You get two phone lines and internet for your house for $30 a piece. And I'm like, damn, that would save us money. I'm like, I'm getting that. And then I had to sit last night and like, am I 55? Because I'm like, I'm 55. No, I'm not 55. What are they dredging? What are they doing? What is that? Is that a big old paddle boat? It's huge though. Oh, it is a big old paddle boat. It's big. It looks like a paddle party boat. If it gets close enough, I'll show it to y'all. But it's huge. It almost looks like an excavator. It's orange with like these black lines to like. Yeah, it's funny, but it's a paddle boat. But all right, all right. Thank you. Have a good day at work. Have a good day at work. I'll try not to rub it in too much. Oh, I love not working this summer. But all right, have a good one now. Thanks for coming back. Yeah, yeah. So let me see what this says. Okay, so those of you who said that there is white privilege, are you white or are you a non-white? Back to that topic. Oh, I keep moving it around. It keeps jumping around. Uh-oh. Well, it fell down. So, but it was basically, yeah, poll completed. So yeah, it was 58 yeses, 42 nos. I really should put it up again, but I guess that's sufficient for now to get the conversation going. Mm, hopefully I have the. Yeah. Oh, I can't tell whether I got to turn. Or I probably should turn the other way in the sun. Oh, okay, okay. Well, maybe you can explain that. That's definitely have and have not. Because I was gonna say, I believe there's a certain extent of white privilege, but to it, you have to be in direct. It's a whole story. I'll explain, but it definitely is a have and have not in this country. It's either you have it or you do not have it. You either in or out. I believe that race is a social construct that was made up to keep the division, to keep people, like to keep the peasants arguing amongst each other. So, and that's a like a game plan as old as time. You keep the people that are the lowest on the totem pole. The quickest way to keep them from rising up and doing better or getting better or catching on to the game is to keep them running around fucking with each other. Well, no, no, I have never had anything handed to me as well. Never had anything handed to me. So I'll give you an example. So me and my daughter's father, it's a story I really don't want to tell now, but this particular instance where I believe white privilege got us through the door is the only way that this company would come to the table and sell the house to him is because me as the seller said, hey, no, I want to accept his offer. That's it. I mean, he had a good credit score and everything. We'll leave the specifics up out of it because they didn't know that we knew each other. It was the whole thing. But, he actually had the credit and and definitely the money. But I was the face of the business. I was the seller on a lot of these houses. It was a whole thing. That's when real estate was lucrative back in the early 2000s. And, we had rental properties. We had a bunch of things. But yeah, it's a whole thing I'll explain another time. But if it wasn't for me getting, like, even with the nonprofit that we had started, if it wasn't for me, Well, we didn't start. It's just a whole story. But if it wasn't for my face and my car, like even when we bought the house that we bought, because he asked me where I wanted him to buy me a house, and I said I want to go where I grew up. I want to buy a house in the city my parents live in. Because back at that time, that was gonna be the big tee on my parents. For several reasons. But I tell you, when we got the house, I mean, the realtor wasn't a problem. The people selling the house were not a problem. But I tell you what, we were waiting in the driveway. I'm big, fat, and pregnant. I'm 9 months pregnant with my daughter. We've got our dog. We sitting in a brand new car. This was like, I think the Navigator had only been out 8 months, you know. And we sit in this nice neighborhood. We waiting on the realtor to come bring us our keys because we had closed on the house and everything. And I'm gonna tell you what, we had the police. They circled us and drove by. They really did us dirty for about the first 6 months we lived there. I mean, we couldn't catch a break. Our dog barked outside too much. We got an $80 barking dog ticket. And I grew up in this city. I knew most of the police. I definitely knew all the firemen. I definitely knew all them. But it was definitely just, in the city I grew up in, like, we had black families, but it was like a black neighborhood. There was only like 2 streets in the whole city where all the black families lived. So, and it wasn't like I don't know, it is what it was, and it's not that way anymore. However, so when I moved my little black family in there, we caught the flux. And then I've also had my white privilege snatched from me. And I say mine, but I mean just the little bit I did enjoy. For one, I picked up a lot of Ebonics along the way. I have to really like put my game face on to take that completely out and use my vocabulary and be able to express myself without using Ebonics at all. And just some of the places I've been and things that I've seen, yeah, I definitely am a have-not. And like I said, but any white person can buy it if you have enough money. And I've seen it in, like I said, in the same example, like with my daughter's father. He had the money. He had the bomb credit. He had all those things, but he couldn't, there were doors he couldn't get in. So I definitely think it is a thing. Not saying it's right or it's wrong, because like I told my children, I didn't want them to grow up confused because they have a white mother and a black father. And I don't sign up to the one drop theory. I do not sign up for, and I might find it hard. Some of y'all that have interacted with me on other platforms, well, specifically one other platform, might find it hard to believe, but I do not sign up for that just because the child has a black parent. The child is black, and that's that. Granted, there are instances where you're gonna have to, if they kick in the door and say get on the floor, you're gonna have to get on the floor. But so is everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I don't buy into that. I don't buy into the every and all theory. I just don't do it. So I told my children coming up, because you have these several boxes that they have to take. Are you white, black, Asian, whatever other little things they have on there, and in certain things you apply for, you can check all the boxes that apply to you. In other programs, you can only check one box. And so what I told my children who have a black father and a white mother, you check whatever box is going to make it beneficial for you on this particular application. Simple as that. If it's going to be more beneficial for you and what you're applying for or trying to do to be black, then you check, and you can only pick one box, then you pick the black box. In other situations, if it's going to be more beneficial for you to check white, then you check white. And in there lies the beauty of children that have more than one. They have parents of different cultures or different colors, And really it is culture, because, you have the black culture, you have the Latino culture, you have the Asian culture, you have the Muslim culture or the Arabic, I don't know if they fall under Asian, Like I know India is considered Asian. I have a friend and she's from India and they are considered Asian, but they are non-white people. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that could be better in our community, in our country. Although I can't imagine a better country to go to. I can't find a better country to go to and be who I am, how I am, and be able to criticize the government and talk shit when I want to about whatever I want to, as long as it's not bringing hate or inciting harm to anyone else. Shit, I think we got the best country in the world. So, but those of you who answered that white privilege does not exist, why? Why do you say that? And I asked that question. I don't want to prove a point either way on that because I just told you what I believe in. But here's an add on to that. I also believe that when they say that black people are only 14% or whatever percent of our population, I think that's fucking hooey. I think that's a lie. I think that, and if white people are not the minority already, we will be very soon. So the folks that do think that they can do certain things because they're white and they say they're white and they're right, they better get their shit together. They better learn how to act. Simple as that. So simple as that. So I don't know, but I'm gonna. I've only been on 33 minutes. I'm definitely going to be off of here soon so I can go on and get my butt in the water. That's what I came really to do. But then I said, I really don't have time when I'm at home or doing other things to get on here and run my mouth. So, and I haven't been live for a couple of days. Well, I came on yesterday for a little bit, for like what, maybe 15 minutes, but I really didn't have time to do it. So I jumped back off, you know. So I said, the beach is, I'm by myself. There's not a lot of people out. I can run my mouth for a little bit. Maybe figure out, you know, like I said, how other people in my community feel. But for those of y'all that's still here, still talking, I appreciate it. I really, really do. For those of y'all that are at work, I tell you, I feel for you. Because I'm pretty sure that if you didn't have to work, you sure in the fuck wouldn't. And don't get me wrong, I have to work. I'm just not. I'm just not. I mean, had I had not been fired last October 27th, I would be working right now. I would be working because I had to. I have to. And I would really, I'd still be off on leave because I had my shoulder surgery in February. So I would still be off on leave and getting a small paycheck. I think that they gave, what, 60% when you go off on a short term. You get 60% of your base pay. So, and that'd have worked for me. However, it was a blessing and a curse. Like I didn't have the $3,000 copay on my surgery that I would have had I had not lost my work insurance. And Medicaid was a blessing. I mean, and then there's no better insurance than Medicaid with a Blue Cross Blue Shield back or a United Healthcare HMO back. There's no better insurance. I'm sorry, except for in dental and in vision. Like the vision coverage on Medicaid sucks, and the dental coverage sucks. It sucks. It does suck. However, it's better than nothing. So we just gonna be thankful for what we have. I was at the eye doctor early this morning telling them that the glasses they made for me and I picked up last week, I hate them because the insurance didn't pay for like the transition lenses. Um, when you say, well, she's not Vietnamese. I don't have an aunt that's Vietnamese, and I do not know Vietnam personally. I know that the United States went over there on a shitty war way back in the day, and that my dad served in Vietnam. But that's all I know, and what I see on TV. So, I mean, do you know Vietnam? Like, let me see. You're not the same person earlier. So, Do you speak Vietnamese? I'm actually going to turn around the other way. I'm not sitting. Well, no, I guess I could be getting sun on my back. It's not really a good way to sit and be able to see what's being said here, though. I may not know how to speak Vietnamese, but like I said, I got love for all people. I definitely have love for all people. Like I said, everybody's a friend until you show me you're not. I don't ever go into a situation thinking this person's an asshole. But all it takes is for you to show me one time that you're on some bullshit or, not aligning with what I stand for and what I stand on, then I can't be associated. Like when I was younger, I was like, oh, I could be co-workers and be on a bowling team with somebody who feels this certain way, even though I don't. And I guess when I was younger, I maybe didn't have the confidence to say, hey, no, I don't even want to play on the same team as this person because of this, that, and the other. But as I got older and had children and actually had to make my way in the world, I had to stand for something or fall for anything. So I had to stand on what I believe in a lot of instances, and I do. I don't have a problem with it. I back what I say. If I have a viewpoint that is not correct, I definitely am open to talk about it. I'm never so set in my ways that I'm like, no, fuck that. If I can be if I can be shown that my way of thinking is incorrect, I don't have a problem with changing my viewpoint and standing hard on my new viewpoint. You know. Mm-mm-mm. Yup, I'm wondering. I have sunscreen with me, but I think that I've got enough base on my non-melanin skin that I won't burn. Like last year, I came hard and heavy last year, and I fried like a lobster. I fried so bad. Oh, it was bad. But after that initial burn and peel, I was fine. I still had color in my skin coming across the new year. I take color really well. I guess that goes with my personality. Someone said that I was an infiltrator, that I infiltrated black spaces, and that I was a fraud. But that's not true. I do infiltrate. I infiltrate, you know, like if you see a group or a situation that you've either been thrown in by no control of your own, or it could be a work situation, or it could just be a group of people you see having a lot of fun, and you want to be in that group too. Yes, you infiltrate, you assimilate to a certain point, and you make fucking friends. That's not that's not a bad thing. When they said it, I was offended, but it's true. It's true. It's true, and everybody does to a certain extent. You know, I had to look at who it was coming from and why they were saying it, and it was definitely them in their feelings because I told this person they were wrong, and I told them publicly that they were wrong, and they felt some kind of way about it because I had never voiced a different opinion other than his opinion. But that's what your mod's supposed to do when you're a mod on somebody's channel. You keep the conversation going, you call bullshit when you see it, but you don't never go against whatever the person whose channel it is trying to portray, project, whatever their mission statement is. So I never disagree with that person. Oh shit. Why? Wait a minute. Why is she sending me a text? Mm. Yeah, not so much. What is that? Hold on. So, anyway, appreciate y'all coming in and talking with me. Except nobody said the answer to my question as to why, if you voted yes, white privilege does exist, why do you believe that? And or if you voted no, white privilege does not exist, why you voted that? Because my next question would say, is racism alive in America? Yes or no? And then I would ask the same thing, why do you believe that? I think that some people interchange the two, like they conflate the two, that white privilege is racism. I don't think it is. I think it's a completely different thing. Now, some people may apply it because they have a racist view, but in general, it's not. Because if I were to move into an Asian community, there'd be Asian privilege. Right here in the United States, if I were to move into an Italian community, there'd be Italian privilege. You know, if I were to move, wait a minute, not say if, when I moved into the black community, I definitely catch a little smoke sometimes. I mean, once people get to know me, though, I mean, I guess you would be skeptical. I mean, if you were, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know. I was just making conversation. I mean, a lot of that shit, I don't subscribe to a lot of that stuff. I mean, I do subscribe to the fact that in certain places in space there is a definite disconnect in how the outcome for a white person is and the outcome for a black person is. I mean, everybody's, you know, well, not everybody has kind of calmed down, but the Carmelo Anthony story, I ran into another story, and it was the exact same actions and circumstances. Like, well, it wasn't twins, but it was two white girls. They were 17 at the time, and they used to be friends, and then again they weren't, and you know, they were wolf ticketing each other back and forth, and they ended up at the same smoke shop, and they got into a fight, and one of them stabbed the other one in the neck with a pocket knife. Well, it wasn't a pocket knife. From what I think, what it was, she really had a weapon on her. I think it was a butterfly knife. But now, as a young girl, I used to play with those. I never felt the need in a fight to pull one out, you know. But that's irrelevant. But I'm saying it was the same circumstance, you know. And they charged her as a juvenile. They gave her a lesser charge. She was convicted of manslaughter. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, she either got the max in the juvenile facility, because I want to say she only got, by the time she went to court, she was 19. And I want to say she only got 3 years, because I think 21 is the max sentence you can get in a juvenile facility. I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I never went to the juvenile system. My children certainly never did that. Now, my friend's wife's daughter on the way to that. Oh, what is today? Hold on. What's the date today? Y'all, I'm so messy. What is the date today? Ooh. Yup. Come the 15th, her daughter gonna find out the hard way. But we gonna see. So, but back to the thing, there was a completely different outcome. She only got, and now maybe because they were girls, I don't know. I mean, maybe some people really believe that, you know, male children are inherently, however you say that word, but they're just more prone to lashing out violent, and they thought that, okay, Carmelo Anthony was just another, you know, even that way, I don't get it. And in that instance, there's white privilege. I think that's a complete show of white privilege. You know, and it could be said in vice versa, because I in my humble opinion, just my belief, that Carmelo Anthony was overcharged. He was charged as an adult, and quite frankly, there's so many studies that saying that children's brains, especially boys' brains, are still developing at that age. Their decision making, their emotional regulation, all of that is so skewed, not even developed fully at that point. I believe that he should have been charged as a juvenile. I believe he should have gotten, if not as a juvenile, he should have been charged, given a lesser charge, manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter. I don't know. He wouldn't have got no 30 years. I think that's ridiculous. I think, he was, yeah. That's my personal opinion. And they could say that there was white privilege on that. Like the black community should say that there's white privilege on that because he was charged as an adult and he was charged with murder and he was sentenced to 30 years. I mean, I look at, my boy, he's 13. And I'm going to be real with y'all. About a week, yep, it was almost a week to the day from his 13th birthday that he had a fucking blowout. He had an emotion, and we were working on emotional regulation with him, because, he, just for example, he'd get frustrated, playing PS5 and tear up his fucking controller. That's poor emotional regulation. So we were working on things like that. And I too was working on that because I got mad at my drill and I broke it. But after that, and probably a year and a half of borrowing my friend's drill, I finally felt comfortable enough in my emotional regulation to go on and buy myself a new drill. That's just something that you have to do. So as a little boy, I felt like this was a one-off for him. I certainly don't sit around my house getting my ass kicked by my 13-year-old son. He doesn't walk around running shit in my house. So with that being said, he did put his hands up. Well, put his hand. We'll just say hand. We're not going to say hands because it was one hand. It was one time. It was one lick. And boy is solid. And if nothing else, before my husband passed, he can throw hands. He can definitely defend himself, And I dropped the ball by not getting him some formal training in either sending him to the boxing gym or sending him to learn jiu-jitsu or something where if you choose violence and you need emotional regulation, then those are the places for them to go. I dropped the ball on that. I was in emotional turmoil after he passed and really had to get a grip. So I give him that. I give him that. But man, I had a gash inside my mouth that it probably needed stitches, but I'm like, I'd have to tell them what happened. I'm not doing that, So I do understand and believe that children and children in general definitely emotionally lash out. The regulation and being able to manage those emotions is not developed in these children. So I can see and I put my son in Carmelo Anthony's shoes, My son's had a couple of scraps at school. And when I say my son, he's my godson. So you have to keep in mind, every school year from kindergarten on, it was kindergarten, first grade, second grade. Yeah, kindergarten on. Well, starting in first grade, his mom and I would do every other school year. So he was forever the new kid at school up until, this would be what, year, boom, wait a minute, boom, boom, boom. So we're going into year 4 that he's been with me consistently, for every school year and beyond. Like he's spending, a lot of time at his brother's house, but his brother's only like 2 miles from me. So, but anyway, he's forever the new kid. So he was going through whatever emotional regulation. So he was having, little fights at school. We were working on that. Like, yeah. I just see how Carmelo Anthony got a fucked up deal on that. He got, and his parents let him down. There's no way. There's just no fucking way. Yeah, and I'm gonna leave that at that. We're back on the white privilege subject, and I really was just talking about that to reiterate the fact that I believe it does exist. I believe that it is a social construct, and it's only allowed, just like race and racism is a social construct that has been taught and nurtured for a long time everywhere, because America wasn't the only country that imported slaves, and even the countries that sold their own people and their own war prisoners into slavery. That shit was just Yeah, it was bad all the way around in the treatment of people, but after Buck comes bullshit. So I'm going to leave that alone because I really haven't done a good thought process into that so that I can word it properly and not sound like a fucking douchebag here. Because, yeah, that whole part. So back to what I was saying. I believe that white privilege does exist in our country. I believe that racism does exist in our country. It has been cultivated and allowed to exist in our country. Like for a while, up until this last school year with my boy, I really thought that, man, that shit is just a rollover from the past. That's just some residue left from the past that, it's a learned behavior. And being racist is a learned behavior. Never get that twisted. It is a learned behavior. But I thought, like, surely the people coming up nowadays, surely they're not racist. You know what I'm saying? Surely they're not. But, one of my son's teachers, he's my age or maybe a little bit younger. Like, I'm in my 50s, so he's probably maybe in his 40s, late 30s. And I went and spoke to each and every one of, and my baby, my godson is all the way black. He doesn't have light skin privilege, good hair privilege. He has none of that. You know, privilege they say exists for children that have, a black parent and a white parent. You know, and with my children, mostly my daughter, my son was raised with his father and his stepmother. So the day-to-day things that may, and I just know his father and his stepmother, they weren't going for that. Well, his other mom, because she was there for a while, I give her those props. As a friend, she ain't shit. But as a step parent, she was all right. But as a friend, she ain't shit. She ain't shit, girls. That's why I tell you what, I would never post my fat daddy. And I've been dealing with this cat for a long time. And shit, none of my peoples have ever. Nope, no, you can't meet them. Nope, you can't. Nope, none of that. You ain't gonna throw no fucking monkey wrench in my good time. And my good person, we ain't gonna do that. So, but anyway, yeah. And just one quick off the topic thing, ladies and men, because men have friends that do that stupid shit. You know, keep your woman to yourself. Don't let your friends jump and subscribe and be liking your man's pictures and shit like that. Your man not they friend, okay? Your man is not they friend. Plain and simple. They can subscribe to have the subscription support, but other than that, they don't comment. No, they don't. They don't like pictures. Fuck all that. Nope. Nope. You just, yeah, nope. I've been, nope. So you see, I started stuttering. So that is a dead giveaway that I feel some type of way about that. But back to what I was saying about white privilege. Like, I never really had. My daughter never came home and said, "Mama, they saying this to me. They saying that to me." Now, my oldest son did say to me one time, because there was a disconnect between myself and my parents for many, many years. He did ask me when he was maybe in the first or second grade, like, "Mama, where's my white grandmother at?" You know what I'm saying? And as he got older, I explained to him what the deal was. And now that he's an adult and, times have gone on and people get to reflecting and reminiscing, whatever, he has a relationship with my parents. I definitely cultivate a relationship with my parents, you know. Yeah, so with that being said, I never experienced what I experienced when I went to these teacher meetings with my godson, who, like I said, has got a black mother and a black father. So we go see all his teachers, and even the teacher I'm going to talk about had the same thing to say about him, like he's goofing off. He's playing this year. So, and I made him, talk to his teachers. We went through the whole process about, okay, you heard what your teacher had to say, you bullshitting. What are you going to do? Look this man in the face and tell him what you are going to change this next semester and what you are going to do different, blah, blah, blah. So they did all that. But this particular teacher that I'm talking about was a white teacher. And I think that a lot of factors come into play other than the fact that he is stereotyping and he feels some kind of way about working, in a predominantly black and brown school. And even if it is a predominantly, even the white kids at this school are definitely, you're growing up in the hood. You growing up here. You growing up here. It is what it is. So, but this teacher definitely feels some type of way, and he definitely is not going to go and put out any extra effort for any child, let alone an all black child. So, this teacher was the last teacher we were going to find, and parent teacher conferences were from like 1:30 to 4:30, and it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock. So you got another hour, hour and a half, on conferences. And I see him with his bags packed, trying to ease out the door, like ease down the hallway. And so I walked in front of my son and I caught his attention, and had him to come back down the hallway towards me because I needed to speak with him about my child. And he was like irritated about not being able to sneak out. But he was, all right, I'm gonna come tell you about your kid. But then when I kind of stepped to the side, or he was able to look past me and see my child coming up behind me and see who my child was, I seen the look on his face. I seen his whole demeanor change. And I was like, well, damn, this asshole. And in the process of him saying the same things the other teachers said, he didn't want to hear what my child was going to do different. He didn't want to have a just quote a man-to-man conversation with my son, and have a discussion, and have some kind of meaningful interaction. He just was ready to go, and it wasn't his job to basically, it wasn't his job to correct my son. It was just something he said, like, it's not my job. Like, my job is to teach him the ABCs, one, two, threes. Which, yes, okay, that is your job. But in being a teacher and working in the public school system, your job also consists of the emotional well-being and the. I mean, you see our children during the daytime, sometimes more than we see our children. Between, the children being at, I used to leave for work before he went to school. And sometimes between my second job, I wouldn't get home till after he had been home from school. So I may have seen him, 2 hours a day. Whereas this teacher at school got to see him, for the majority of the day. He was in school with these teachers. So I just seen the way that this teacher was thinking, and I just knew that in my mind, he wasn't even 13 yet. So my 12-year-old was already on the lost cause list for this particular teacher, which he could be burnt out. He could be, because there's a lot of bad fucking kids in a school district where I'm at. There's a lot of bad kids. Well, no, I take that back. There is no such thing as a bad kid. There are fucking bad parents. Simple as that. Bad parents. So with that being said, there are a lot of children that do not know how to fucking act in the school system where I'm at. And I hope this lady that's smoking on the beach, smoking her cigarette, does not leave her cigarette butt in the fucking sand. She better have brought her some kind of fucking receptacle to throw that fucking butt away. I don't know about y'all, but that's one of my biggest pet peeves, when you go to the beach and you see cigarette butts in the fucking sand. And poop. I mean, you can't help with the duck and the geese poop. But the dog shit, yeah, definitely. The dog's not even supposed to be. Well, they can be in the beach area. They're just not supposed to be off leash. You're supposed to just pick that hot, steaming pile of yuck up as soon as it drops. I mean, I'm just saying. All right, well, y'all, I'm running on an hour now. I appreciate y'all for dropping in for this hour with me. I'm gonna drop back in later if I don't have to work tonight. I'm gonna come back in a little while, but I'm about to jog my flapjacks. Jog the couple of steps. Look, I make sure I park real close to the water too. But I'm gonna jog my flapjacks over to the water and get in there and get to doing my exercise, because that's really what I came to do. But I love chilling out here. This is the shit for me, and my next, like, most awesomest thing to be doing is just riding on a motorcycle. Like, right now, I'm not a licensed driver, so I would just be riding on the back. But man, I'm definitely, like I said, my dude's been gone 3 years. He's passed. And my daughter, back when she was young, Mom, I forbid you. Even he was like, nah, you're not getting no bike. You're not. He said I could, but then when the bike I was looking at went up for sale, he didn't tell me, and he knew it was going to sell fast. It was one of his friends had it. And by the time I even sought to ask about it, it had already been up and sold. And now, money is funny. But don't let me oh, let everything pan out, and God bless me with a speedy bounce back from this little financial crisis I'm having. I'm gonna have one next year. I mean, if he let me bounce back this season, I'll go on. It'd be worth it to get it plate, insure it just for a couple of weeks this season. So either swimming in the water, that's my number one happy spot. Riding free on a motorcycle, my second happy spot. And then I tell you what, every one of those would be awesome if I had my mans here with me sometimes. Like not all the time, no. Yeah, yeah, not all the time, but sometimes that'd be the ultimate happy spot, happy place. 'Cause, ooh, wait. Anyway, that's enough about him. I ain't gonna talk about how he take my fucking breath away, flat out. Anyway, that's enough about that. I appreciate y'all coming in. Hit the like button on the way out. I appreciate y'all, and I'ma holler back. So, all right, if you still here, girl, have a good afternoon at work. I'ma holler back, and I appreciate y'all coming through, hitting the like, all that kind of stuff, you know. And I'll talk to y'all later.